Watch your knee. Sorry. And we're live. Hello, YouTube. I'm Dan Salem. This is Maddie Salem. And we are live to talk to you about the NFL on the BuzzChomp YouTube channel and how your team fared in free agency. Grades. That's great. Grades. We're grading. It's like school, and you hand out grades for how your team did in free agency. So before we start the conversation on the BuzzChomp YouTube channel, we are going to go live on Facebook. In 3 and 2 and 1. Hello, Facebook. I'm Dan Salem at the Dan Salem on Facebook over on the BuzzChomp YouTube channel. We are live talking the NFL and NFL free agency grades. This is my beautiful daughter, Maddie. Say hi, Maddie. I am always at the Dan Salem on Twitter. Oh, no touching buttons. I'm going to have to put you down. And I'm at the Dan Salem on Facebook over on the BuzzChomp YouTube channel. All right, so NFL free agency more or less wrapped up. There is one big late breaking news item that is potentially conjecture. All right, you want to get down? But it's a blockbuster. Basically, the Patriots' only star receiver at this point, because Brandon Cooks, their star wide receiver, I believe he has been traded to the Los Angeles Rams, which, as an LA native, is huge for our football team. That's 2 picks for Cooks. It seems to be like a first rounder. This is like, what are the Patriots doing? They let their 2 best offensive linemen walk. They let Cooks. Now they're trading Cooks away. I get it. They don't hand out big deal contracts. It's about the system. It's about the coaching. It's about Tom Brady. And so they got as much as they could for Cooks, and 2 picks, one of them being a first, is a huge haul. But who is Tom Brady going to throw the football to now? It does matter. You can't tell me it doesn't matter. It matters. This is a team sport, a team game. He needs talent. And Brandon Cooks was a huge reason they made it back to the Super Bowl last year. I mean, okay, like, poof, Patriots. Yeah, Tom Brady's only got another couple seasons, but so you're going to, like, completely blow up the farm with only 2 years of Brady left? They're shipping him to the Rams. So I guess they got 1 year out of him, and then they got more draft capital. But I'm just confused because who is playing wide receiver for New England? I don't know. I don't get it. This is so the deal is potentially a 2018 4th round pick and the 23rd overall pick in the 6th rounder. What? 2018 4th round pick for the 23rd overall pick in the. So they're trading their 1st round pick this year. Okay. So this is really good for the Rams, obviously. I mean, I think Brandon Cooks is excellent. And then I guess the Patriots will grab another pick in the 1st round this year. So they will have 2 first-round picks this year, which is pretty awesome. They can grab a wide receiver in that sense. They could grab a replacement for Rob Gronkowski, who, if he doesn't retire this offseason, will probably retire after this coming year because of the concussion issues. If he gets one more, I really hope he doesn't. He may have to retire in the middle of the season. And Brady's only got another year or 2, so yes, this team needs to build. But Brandon Cooks, what a weapon for the LA Rams to pick up. He was huge. He's huge. It's a huge pickup for Jared Goff and their offense. They already got a stellar running game. They made some. The Rams are just the favorite in the NFC West. Easily the favorites. But okay, I was here to talk about NFL free agency grades, not draft grades. NFL free agency grades. NFL free agency grades. This is a tongue twister apparently for me today. NFL Nation on ESPN graded every team. They are not the only site that did it, but I take offense with a couple of the ESPN grades, so I am going to hone in on them, and let's start at the bottom, why don't you? That's the picture I chose. I will be putting it up on these live streams after the fact. The Indianapolis Colts come in last with a D. Basically, they re-signed Adam Vinatieri. That was the only move that the Colts really made worth mentioning. This article has like a 2-sentence snippet, and then you can quote read more. But if your deal doesn't make the 2-sentence snippet, then you stink. The Colts signed their kicker. Yes, he may be one of the greatest kickers ever, but basically the Colts re-signed their kicker. Andrew Luck has been injured, in no small part because the Colts have not had a reliable running game or offensive line. I couldn't tell you who he's going to be throwing the ball to at this point in time because most of the people he was throwing to before have departed. Indy was lucky last season to win the games it did. Now, it lost a lot of close games. It won close games. But it felt like they were just hanging on by a thread. It's the same thing, Maddie. It felt like they were just hanging on by a thread. If I'm Andrew Luck and my team basically stood pat, I'm scared because you're going to be returning from this shoulder injury, which has been plaguing you, to now play for a team which has not really built itself up much since you last stepped foot on the field. I know, it's kind of scary, Maddie. He could be a superstar quarterback, or he could be a bust within the next 6 months because his team stinks and he's just going to be an average quarterback. It's hard to imagine Andrew Luck becoming an average player, but Robert Griffin III had an incredible 1 year, had a knee injury, and then never returned to form, and the team around him deteriorated. And maybe he's backing up somewhere. He might be out of football. The point is, players can have a good season or two, and then that's it. Quarterbacks, too. That's it. Doesn't mean the talent's gone. It means the situation is no longer ideal for them to succeed. And honestly, Luck coming back from the shoulder injury, I have a feeling he's not going to be the scrambling player he once was. He shouldn't be. If he can transform himself into a pocket passer, that would be to his longevity and his advantage. But I don't know that the Colts have the team around him to protect him so he can succeed in a new refangled role. This is scary. ESPN gave the Colts a D. I mean, when you only re-sign your kicker and you really need a lot of help and you need to protect your quarterback, I'm willing to go out on a limb and give the Colts an F right now. Now, they could really redeem themselves in the draft. I mean, obviously the NFL draft, huge, right? But the Colts traded the number 3 pick away. Yes, they gained more draft capital, but with the 3rd overall pick, they could have drafted the best defensive lineman, the best running back. They could have gotten it's frustrating. Yes, now they pick 6. Potentially, they could still get one of those 2 players, but I don't know. They traded with the Jets. I feel like while they got both of New York's second-round picks, so they should be able to add a lot of depth in the draft. Indianapolis, outside of picking Andrew Luck, does not have a history of making good draft picks. I question what they are doing. I think they'll be able to get a good player with the 6th, but if they can't get with Saquon Barkley, who might be one of the trouble running back, or they can't get Chubb, is it Chubbs? Yeah, Chubbs, the defensive end. Then who are they going to take at 6? Those are like game-changing players. You need something. F for Indianapolis so far. On the other end of the spectrum, ESPN gave the Minnesota Vikings an A. Kirk Cousins was the prize of the offseason. Maddie, please don't bite Mom. Kirk Cousins was the pride of the offseason. Minnesota already had a very good football team. But giving them an A for paying the most money for a player who is obviously really good, I don't know. I mean, Minnesota was really good last year with Case Keenum. They could have been really good this coming season with any number of quarterbacks. Cousins makes them good, really makes them better. I know. He's more dynamic than Case Keenum. But I have a hard time giving them an A for basically paying as much as the New York Jets, but they just have a better team. I don't know. I mean, if they had like gotten if there was no they were going to get a steal, and they've lost some players, maybe he's a potential franchise quarterback. I have a hard time giving him an A. It's definitely in the B range. It's like a B plus. I think it's an excellent move. I give him a B plus. Maddie, what do you need? You a Vikings fan? You mad at me for giving them a B? Don't worry. So the Vikings, I guess I understand. He was the prize. I really Oh, okay. I really like what the LA Rams have done. ESPN has them at a B plus. I'd give them as high as an A minus or an A because they got Sue. They've added depth to their team. Now they're snatching Brandon Cooks. I really like the talent they're bringing in. Yes, they lost Jermaine Johnson to the Jets, but they added back. Would you like her to join me? I question why they've given both Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and Tampa Bay B pluses. I mean, I like what the Bills did. The Steelers, I don't feel like did any much of it. I mean, I guess they did a little. They said they got 2 defensive starters. These are very liberal grading. Doing nothing does not deserve a B plus. Tampa Bay re-signed Mike Evans and tight end Cameron Brate to extensions. That doesn't deserve a B plus. Those are no-brainer decisions that they would have been stupid not to do. Getting it done is good, but it's not like above average good. That's like a B minus move. Yeah, you had to do it, but did you bring in anybody else? No. All right, B minus. I don't grade on this like high curve. You don't have to have A's and crap. You could have everybody at a B because nobody did anything that outstanding. The Browns at a B. Cleveland should probably be higher. They have brought in a ton of talent to compete, and they still have the top 2 of the 4 top picks in the draft. I don't know how they get a B, and then Tampa Bay gets a B plus, or freaking Buffalo gets a B plus. The Browns used everything they possibly could to try to improve themselves. Now, they may not be better than Buffalo or Tampa Bay, but that's not the point. They did a lot. I'm really happy with the moves they made. I also really like what the LA Chargers have done by standing pat. Yes, I know I'm crediting them for not doing much, but this is like grades. I don't know about the B. I probably more like a B minus. I'm not a high grader here. I'm trying to think if anybody deserved an A. Anybody deserved an A. I like what Cleveland's done. I like Tyrod Taylor. I like what they added. I like what they got for what they added. They didn't have to give up their top picks to do it. Now, Cleveland doesn't have a good track record. It's maybe giving them an A stretch. Oakland adding Jordy Nelson is huge. That should be a much higher. I guess ESPN has a lot of people lumped in at the B level. Understandably, I would bump Oakland up higher. They stole Jordy Nelson. That was a huge, huge move. I also like what the 49ers did, stealing Richard Sherman. That was a huge, huge move. Now, some questionable B minuses. Really, Baltimore gets a B minus. I mean, I like Michael Crabtree, but they didn't do anything else. This team is not marketably better with him. He's good, but Flacco still has to get him the football. I think that Baltimore should have done better than that. One player does not deserve a B minus because I'm already looking at this, and my New York Jets are going to be in the C grade. Oh no, they bumped them in the B minus. Phew! I was going to say, there's no way that signing Michael Crabtree beats what the Jets have done. I like the Cowboys adding Allen Hurns. That's definitely a B minus. And they brought in Cameron Fleming, I believe that's from the Patriots. And that would get me a B. I think the Dallas Cowboys deserve more credit for giving Dak Prescott some weapons and protection. I also really like Case Keenum to the Broncos. Denver had a decent team last year. They just couldn't put it together, and then injuries. I think Keenum doesn't get enough credit for managing that offense. So it's not always about stats and padding the numbers. It's not always about the flashy big play. It's about not making mistakes, running the offense that's given to you, and winning. He did that in Minnesota, and I think that he can definitely do that in Denver. That was a great move. I'd bump that up to a BB plus range. Kansas City and the Giants, B minus is a stretch for both teams. Yes, Sammy Watkins going to Kansas City is big. Yes, Kansas City traded Alex Smith. I like that the Giants added Nate Soldier on the line. Both those teams, I just don't feel like they're necessarily better off than when they started. So B minus is a stretch. The Jets are definitely better off than when they started. They deserve a B plus in my opinion. Adding Johnson and Tremaine Johnson, the cornerback, was excellent. Bringing in both quarterbacks to mentor whoever they draft was great. I love the move up the board because you need to get your guy. You need to get one of these players. There's going to be 2 of these 4 top quarterbacks that are going to be stars in the league easily. And I don't think the Browns will draft a quarterback first overall. I think they'll get one at 4 because I think they'll be – it feels like a Browns move to me. So the Jets are going to get their second quarterback. I could also see the Giants like really slow rolling us and not drafting a quarterback either. How about the Jets with all 4 quarterbacks on the board at 3? I like what New York has done so far. They deserve a B plus to me. I'm hard pressed to hand out A grades right now. Seattle does not deserve a B minus. Throw them down into the C range. They let Richard Sherman walk. They have done very little to improve on their team. They're rebooting their offense with what? Yeah. Yep, it's still just Russell Wilson. Still just Russell Wilson. All right, down into the C range. I think that we're going to give – who do we give credit for re-signing? We gave the Tampa Bay Buccaneers credit for re-signing Mike Evans and their tight end. Why aren't we giving the Saints more credit for re-signing Drew Brees? This was a playoff team last year that was really, really good. Could have easily made the conference championship. Would have given the Eagles a run for their money, in my opinion. Drew Brees keeps them in that conversation. And they're giving him a C+. Weak sauce. I also think Jacksonville has done a better job than a C+ at this point. Green Bay, they brought in Jimmy Graham and Muhammad Wilkerson. Those are 2 stars. Now this is probably a fair C+ right now because both those guys have to prove themselves again. But this could easily be like a B+. Maddie, are you okay? Don't cry about the Packers. They'll be good again. This could easily be a B+ rating if these players return to the form that they've been at before. They've both been Pro Bowlers in the past. I know they got Jordy Nelson get away. Jimmy Graham doesn't replace him, but tight ends are indispensable. Not sure what's happening in Washington. They're kind of like glossing over the Alex Smith trade. That was a solid move. I like Alex Smith a lot. Atlanta gets a C out of this thing. That's probably fair. What have they done? What have they not done? Not much of anything. And Miami, the Dolphins at a C-. Yeah, they're the only team. They're right down there with the Colts who get a D. This was a very generous rating. Lots of Bs, lots of B-, lots of B+, 1A, 1D, which should be an F, 1A, which probably should be a B. I'd give out an A or an A- or 2. The Dolphins, yeah, I guess they got Frank Gore, Danny Amendola. This is a lackluster. C- feels right. I don't think they fall into the D range. That is my take on these NFL free agency grades. Any questions from the audience? Any opinions to share? I am really intrigued by this Brandon Cooks move. I guess they didn't think they were going to – they probably thought it would be too expensive to retain Cooks. So they got as much as they could for him, which includes a first-round pick. I don't know about Gronk. I don't know about Brady, how much they're going to stick around, but they'll have to pay them if they want them to. So this is their wide receiver depth chart at the moment. Julian Edelman, still really good. Yeah, Chris Hogan has been a solid player. Philip Dorsett, Malcolm Mitchell, Kenny Britt, Cordell Patterson, Riley McCarron, Cody Hollister. The Patriots have always gotten a lot out of players we've never heard of. Makes fantasy tough. I'm looking for them to do something to help Tom Brady in the draft. I don't know if it's going to be offensive line. Maybe they'll add to the defense. Bill Belichick's a defensive guy, but they got 2 firsts now. So, no, they're not going to trade up. The ESPN, the Patriots going to trade up for a quarterback. This is silly. Maybe they got to replace Tom Brady, but they're always like the late round pick people. I'm not seeing that happen. This is also a side note. Cowboys dumped Ticketmaster for SeatGeek. I've never heard of SeatGeek, but finally someone trying to topple the Ticketmaster monopoly. Good. I like competition. Competition is good. I'm also happy to see that the felony charges were dropped against Jets wide receiver Robbie Anderson. Yeah, he's got some misdemeanors out there, but getting the big boy out of the way, big time. I'm happy about that. Something about Titans, these weird headlines. Anywho, this has been a fun, wild offseason ride. Most everything's finished up. Brandon Cooks getting traded is intriguing. I don't know what to make of this. I think, I guess we'll go back to the grades for a second. I think Cousins is going to do really well in Minnesota. I'm not sure he makes them marketably better. I think Alex Smith is going to do really well in Washington. I don't know if he makes them marketably better. I do think the Jets are better with McCown and Bridgewater than without them. I do think the Broncos are better with Keenum. There is still the Nick Foles trade option hanging out there, depending on if the Eagles are willing to lower their price. I don't think they'll get a Brandon Cooks deal for Nick Foles. Yes, Nick Foles is a quarterback, but he's had a good half a season. And he is a Super Bowl MVP, but he has had a good half a season. I don't think he'll get a Brandon Cooks offer. I think the Eagles will have to settle for less because I don't know why they would pay the man to stick around. He's out there. Some of these teams, Brandon Cooks could be a game changer for the LA offense, and they were already really good. Jermaine Johnson could be a game changer for the New York Jets defense. Nate Soldier could be a game changer for the Giants offense on the line because someone could finally protect Eli Manning. Maybe they'll get a running game going. They have not had a running game in several years, and Eli Manning needs it. He needs a running game. I'm intrigued by Muhammad Wilkerson and the Packers defense because he was great as a Jet, and that Packers defense needs a spark. They were not very good last season, held them back. And also, can Jimmy Graham reinvent himself? Does Richard Sherman have anything left in the tank now that he's on the 49ers? So many intriguing options. I'm Dan Salem. I'm live every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time on the BuzzChomp YouTube channel and over at the Dan Salem on Facebook. That's my creators hub. At the Dan Salem on Twitter always. Catch me next Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to talk more NFL. The draft will only be a couple weeks away. Can't believe it. It's almost here. Have yourself a great rest of your evening and good night. Peace. It's hard to hit these finish buttons. Don't mind me. The end of this thing is just continuing on a little longer than anticipated. Good night.